Welcome to Stay on Track podcast with Poolson and Law Firm, Danny Poolson, along with my amazing co-host, Carissa Oden. Our vision is to help 500 plus families battling injuries by year 2028.
Our motto is that we help people who are hurt. Our goal is to earn each client's trust by showing up for them every day. When we say PO in our office, we think protecting others. We started this podcast to share knowledge, experience, and insights free of charge to better spread our vision and serve our communities near and far.
Today we are airing episode 12 of Stay on Track podcast with Poolson and Law Firm. And in this episode, we have a very special guest, LSU Hall of Fame running back, Dr. Brad Davis. Doc, some of Dr. Davis's achievements and accomplishments for our listeners. 1969, Louisiana AA Football Player of the Year. 1970, Louisiana AAA Football Player of the Year and Louisiana All-Class Football Player of the Year. 1971, Hammond High School valedictorian. 1971, LSU freshman football team member. Back then, freshmen did not play varsity football.
That's correct.
1972 to 74, LSU football team running back. 1972, all sophomore team. 1973 to 74, all SEC running back. 1974, first team academic All-American. 1974, LSU team MVP. Finished at LSU as the school's all-time leading rusher with 2,253 yards and 16 touchdowns, averaging a cool 4.5 yards per carry. 1975, NFL ninth-round draft pick by the Atlanta Falcons. 1988, inducted into the LSU Hall of Fame.
Oh.
Dr. Davis has also been inducted into the Louisiana High School Hall of Fame and LSU Athletic Scholastic Hall of Fame. And after your football days, Dr. Davis, you earned a Doctor of Dental Surgery from LSU in 1981 and have been practicing dentistry in Opelousas, Louisiana for more than 40 years.
Wow. Can you sit there?
Well, thank you very much. That was a good introduction.
Yeah. What did we miss?
Yeah, I know. This is going to...
I don't know. I must have missed some. I thought my resume was more than that, but that's good enough.
Yeah.
Doc, we're so glad to have you here with us today. As a student athlete, you excelled both on and off the field. And what do you attribute that success to?
I guess it was my growing up. Like my grandchildren, I had a demanding father.
Sure.
And
I saw how you did that.
yeah, I had a demanding father. And he was, I thought he was hard on me.
Mm.
He wasn't as hard on my siblings, but I was instilled, with the ethic of hard work. And that's what I had strived to do, is work hard as I could. Just as y'all do. Y'all work to people.
Doc, when you say siblings, tell us about your siblings.
I had three brothers. I was the oldest of the family. I had Greg, who was 18 months younger than me. Brother Jeffrey, who was 4 years younger than me. And I had a brother, Kevin, he was 13 years younger than me. Mm. So Greg and I were pretty close in school. He was only a year behind me in school. We were pretty close back then. And the things that he got away with, I couldn't. The things I got punished for, he let it slide. So I guess having four kids, you try to get one good one out of the bunch.
Yeah, four boys. I can imagine a rough and tussle childhood growing up with three younger brothers.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you idle with the Three Stooges, and we were able to, all the movies we saw at the Three Stooges, we tried on each other.
Nice. So do you have a good story about when maybe your parents, something like that happened and you guys were caught in the act?
Yeah, Greg and we got caught doing something bad outside. And where we lived, we had on the property line, there was a row of bamboo canes. So Daddy told us, all right, you're going to get whooped. And he said, go pick out the cane you want to get whipped with. So Greg went and got the skinniest, smallest cane he could get. it was real whippy. I went and got one that was like that big around. I said, because I know if he hits me with that, he's going to kill me. So I'm not going to get hit as hard. and it's true. He hit me in the leg. Nah, it was nothing. But that little whippy one, he went to town on my brother Greg, and he was running around and hollering and screaming. So that's, that's
My dad tells very similar stories. Him and his brother, he said, his dad said, go, get a switch. Right. And his brother was trying to be real cool and got a real small one. And they found out that's the worst kind.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger's better.
Oh, just like,
yeah.
He was going to town.
So Doc, you had both book smarts and street smarts even way back then.
And of course, I'd do bad things and blame it on Greg, and he kind of resented me, because.
Okay. So Doc, a lot of what we've learned from you is difference in generations, and right now, for being a parent with younger kids, the specialty in sports is such a thing right now, right? Where you're travel, baseball, this, that, and the other. When you were growing up, was it like that, or did you play all the sports growing up?
Well, I started in baseball, and we didn't have organized baseball till 8 years old. Very few people made the teams when they were 8 years old, and so they shipped us to what they call farm league, which were 7 and 8 year old kids, and that's where I got started playing organized sports and baseball.
When did you start with football?
Football, of course, we always, at school we played rough tackle football, and we all came home with cuts on our face and knots on our heads, and because you had to tackle with your face, and this is. But you get organized in Hammond, you didn't start till fifth grade. Tackle, full thing. We had 6 games a year, and I got started. So fifth, 6th, 7th grade was little conference football in Hammond, and that's where I got started at football.
And then at Hammond High, you were a multi-sport letterman.
Yeah, I lettered in football, basketball, and baseball. I didn't letter in track. It took too long to run around the track. Now I wish there was that's where I missed out. I should have concentrated just on football and track. It would have helped my speed and quickness a little bit more. But you didn't train like they do now. It wasn't year-round trainings for the sports.
Yeah, I've seen some of your film, and I think you were sneaky fast from the film that I've seen. Did you focus more, or did you take a better liking to football when you're in high school? Because being the Class 2A Player of the Year as a junior, and then being the All-Class Player of the Year as a senior, that's a pretty big honor for a high school athlete.
Well, I had good coaching. I had Coach Oscar Lofton, who played Southeastern, and he played with the Boston Patriots. He was a big influence on weight training and staying in shape most of the year. Now, I liked basketball pretty much. Baseball, couldn't wait to get baseball. Was easy because you didn't have to run anywhere. Just sit there. That was the laziest sport in the world. Yeah, I was pretty good. I could hit home runs. My batting average was about 180, which is you strive for 300. I was about 180. And strikeouts were kind of high. I struck out probably 4 out of 5 times every one because I was swinging for the fences.
Yeah, you were.
I was going for the fences.
Oh, goodness. Oh.
And then when I played basketball, and in my sophomore year, we were playing Redemptress High School. And so most of the guys were seniors, but I was a 6th man, and I was come in, and I was a backup. I was a guard. And one of my cousins, Bill Edwards, he was an all-state basketball player. And he fouled out with, about 2 minutes to go. And I had to go in. And the coach pulled me aside and says, "Don't shoot the ball, throw the ball." So the first thing, give me the ball. I shot the ball. Didn't make it. We lost by 1 point. State championship.
Doc.
Yeah.
I think of two things there. I think tell the truth Monday, and then I think winners do what they want. All right, Doc. So going back to football, playing football in high school, what does that look like as far as the equipment goes? Helmets, pads.
We had great helmets. They were what they call a suspension helmet. No cushion, no padding. You know, like a construction hat. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
The suspension in that. That's what our helmets were. Oh, we all walked around with concussions. We didn't know. They said, shake it off and get back in there.
Yeah, I've heard the phrase, get your bell rung.
Oh, it's
Kind of shake it off and
every play. Your bell was wrong. It was a suspension helmet, and all the force went straight to that suspension, and you were walking around, get back in there. And it was no going to the sideline. If you laid down, you knocked out for a split second, they'd pick you up and throw you back in the game.
Crazy.
Oh, and it was.
It's wild.
But the equipment, we had great big shoulder pads. I mean, it all looked like we were, I have to say they protected our shoulders more than they did our heads.
I wonder if at the time it just wasn't something that you were really concerned about, I guess.
No, they weren't concerned about it. It was nothing, you see people, 20 years after they played football walking around like zombies and going, oh, yeah, he played football, or...
Yeah, like you said, the research and the technology and just the information and the education. It's certainly we've had quite a few advancements since the 70s, huh, Doc?
Oh, yeah. All the rules have changed and everything. I mean, the things that are penalties now were routine, like, cut blocks and diving, leading with your head, and trying to, hit people from behind. Don't clip them, but you can, if they weren't looking, hit them as hard as you could. Somebody would drag them off the field, take their place.
Next man in, I guess.
Yeah, that was it.
Jeez.
Yeah, we did win the state championship in football, AAA, my senior year. We should have won the state championship in '69. We got to the semifinals. We went up to Natchitoches, and we went up the day before. And all these country boys and everything, most of them never stayed in a motel before.
Uh-huh.
And man, they had a good time.
The day before the game?
The day before the game.
Oh, no.
We got kicked out of the motel. We had to check out at 5 o'clock, and it was pretty cold up there. It was like in the 40s. So for 3 hours, we had nowhere to go. So he put us in a dorm, stadium dorms in Natchitoches with no heat. So we were in the...
Frozen.
Yeah, we were frozen for 2 hours. And we never did thaw out at the game.
And that's your junior season?
Yes.
And so when you say country boys hadn't been in a hotel or motel, those are your teammates you're talking about?
Well, yeah, my teammates and me.
You were acting up?
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't. No, I would never actually. It was some other guys. My brother Greg did.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
But once we got to the game, we were wore out. So we lost in Natchitoches. We went 11-2 that year. But my senior year, we went 14-0. We went up to. We had to travel again. We had to go to Monroe and play Richwood out in Monroe. And when we went to the game, Coach had learned from the year before to get us out of the hotel. And he watched us the whole time, the night before. So we didn't even dress in the dressing room. We dressed on the Greyhound bus. And at halftime, we went back on a Greyhound bus. And then we ended up winning that game. And we got the crowd in Monroe weren't very happy. So we were trying to get out there as fast as we could. So everybody ran to the bus. We got on the bus, and one of the buses got stuck. The other one got away. I got on the first bus. The other bus. So we all had to get out and push the bus out of the mud to get out of Monroe. They weren't happy because they were undefeated too, and they were averaging in football. They were averaging 72 points a game.
Wow.
We beat them 23-12, and they had some stars on that team. They went on to play professional football. Hall of Famer Sammy White, a wide receiver, played in the Minnesota Vikings for years, and so that crowd was not happy with us.
Like, hightail it to the bus.
Get to the bus and don't get off.
Man, all I hear is that our kids, when they play game, it's like easy, right?
Easy.
It's soft.
We're shaking hands. Congratulations. It's a good game.
Yeah.
Oh, we were kids and it was like baseball, we lost a game. We found a rock pile or something and have a rock war afterwards. I mean, chunking rocks at each other. That's, you
More concussions.
concussion and knock a tooth out. Nobody cared. Like I said, they didn't care about what kids did back then. But it was all been clean from.
Your dad was an athlete, yeah?
He told me he was. No, he was. He wasn't a big man, but he was a strong man. He was about 5'7". He probably weighed about 185 pounds, and he was a good athlete. I mean, he told me he was on the Southeastern Louisiana College. It was SLC back then, and he was on the tumbling team, which is their version of men's gymnastics. And he could do the kip ups, the flip flops, and all. He was very strong. He could water ski.
You talked about water skiing growing up in Hammond. You and your brothers would take the boat out every now and again.
Yeah, we were lucky. As a kid, I'm talking about 7, 8 years old. My daddy had a boat, and every weekend it seemed like we'd go to Madisonville. And I know the story you're talking about. I think I'm anticipating it. And we started out with 50 horsepower, and so we had a 16-foot inboard outboard. We had 155 horsepower, and it would go over, it's 42, 43 miles an hour. And for some reason, my daddy trusted me to take it. When I wanted to go, we would go, but you got to take your brothers, So I think Danny's talking about, daredevils and things. So one day we were down at North Pass at Manshack, and my brother Jeffrey, who was 4 years younger than me, was with me, and Greg was with me. And Greg was, he could do anything on the water. He could barefoot, he could trick ski and things like that. But Jeffrey, not so much. So we were going 40 miles an hour, and we looked at Jeffrey and said, "All right, jump out." He said, "What?" Jump out at the boat. He said, "Okay." Oh, man. Jumped out the boat. Next thing we find him, he's up in the cypress knees on that. I said, "You did good, Jeff." "All right."
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. That was it. And he didn't want to go skiing too much after that.
Man.
I'm crying laughing.
But I guess we were tougher or dumber, That's one way to get rid of you little kids that want to follow you around all the time. And you get older and
Throw him out the boat.
no, he jumped out on his own.
It was just a suggestion. Huh?
It was a suggestion.
My big brother I look up to might have told me to jump out
He
the boat.
said, he said jump out of the boat, it wouldn't hurt. Well, I made him do it because I did it. Somebody told me to do that.
Right, right.
It didn't feel
Rite of
good.
passage.
Paying it forward. Thanks for sharing that, Doc.
Okay.
Good story.
I love that story. Doc, talking about your family growing up, one of the things that I'm not sure that a lot of our listeners may know is that you lost your pops at a young age, and I want to just ask you about that and how that affected you or influenced you in both your educational career and your athletic career?
Well, it was the summer before my senior year in high school. My daddy had a massive heart attack, and I think it was like in July, and it was prior to the starting football. And back then, I'd seen, he was a heavy smoker. He probably smoked 2 packs a day, and it used to work with him, like around the yard or working on the car or something. And it was always, heavy breathing, sweating, and all that. Of course, I just thought it was hot outside. But one night I was called back home, and he was in the bed. He was rolling, and we got him to the hospital. My dad was in the hospital from, 2 or 3 weeks. Then he came home, and he was unable to work, and so, they suggested, you had bypass surgery. So he went in for the procedure at the Baptist Hospital in New Orleans, and they attempted to do the bypass, and I guess the diagnostics weren't as good. He may not have been a candidate for that. Might have been a candidate for a heart transplant. Of course, they weren't doing that. And he didn't get off the operating table. So that was in February of 71. And just prior to that, he put off surgery to make sure, to find out where I was going to get a scholarship to play football somewhere. And I once decided and signed with LSU, and everything was good, and he went through the surgery. Didn't make it back. And I was 17. I was almost 18. I was like a week away from being 18 years old. So I went from being a happy-go-lucky kid to, something a little more serious.
Did you know your senior season at Hammond High, the prognosis or the dire circumstances that your dad was facing?
Well, we had just had 2 of my great uncles. They had the surgery, and they did fine with it. One was my mother's uncle, and the other one was my daddy's uncle, and they went through the procedure just fine. But I think it was the diagnosis. They probably didn't do 100 bypass surgeries at the time in New Orleans. So
high school senior, about to turn 18. How does your outlook change on things after you lose your dad?
Well, it was scary. Didn't know what we were going to do. The only thing that I could do was, make sure I finished this school year out, and then, then make sure I get to LSU on time. And, of course, we had a pretty tight-knit family back then. My grandparents were still living on both sides. And so, it helped out my mother and all that. So I was able to go and do what I needed to do.
And part of your scholarship with LSU, I understand you may have been able to help facilitate Greg getting over in LSU.
Yeah, it was part of the package. Of course, they didn't have any NIL money, but of course there was a lot of cheating going on that was under the table. And so the deal my daddy cut was that, if I went to LSU, I was taking my brother with me, and he was going to be an equipment manager. And once you got a full athletic scholarship for that, and I could have gone to a few other schools, and Ole Miss had come down to Hammond, they wanted me to sign because I had a teammate that just signed with Ole Miss, a high school teammate. And I remember we met him at the Holiday Inn in Hammond, which was new at the time. And the coaches came in, and my daddy told them straight out, I said, look, we need some money. They said, well, we don't pay me. He said, I know y'all do. He says, I need money for him to go to Ole Miss And his brother's coming to me. He said, well, we don't do that, which was a lie. So they left, and I said, I think it's time, to go to LSU today. And he said, good. And so I did bring my brother with me. Now, it didn't turn out so well.
You think this is a story too? Yeah, love it.
Yeah, it didn't turn out so well.
Was Greg was he wanting to go, or was he like, oh, okay?
Well, Greg, he had a girlfriend, so he came to LSU, the next year in 72, and he started, and he didn't do so well in school. I think you couldn't flunk out the first semester. I think I don't know if he even got any points. Maybe,
Uh-oh.
there wasn't the 3 point, 2 point.
0.00.
I don't think but he still was on scholarship. And, but he'd take off and go to Hammond. It's only like 45 minutes to get to Hammond. He'd go see his girlfriend 2 or 3 days. And I don't ever think he ever found the library. My father dying affected them harder than it did in me. I was a little bit more mature, and my daddy was harder on me. He wanted me to be able, if he wasn't there, to take off running and become a man. Now, Greg and Jeffrey and my youngest brother Kevin, who was like 5 or 6 years old, it was a lot harder on them, and I guess I'd say they weren't as mature as I was.
I'd like to think that we're a softer generation, Doc. I'm sure I'm going to offend people by saying that, but I think, compared to your generation, our generation is much softer. Do you think that you losing your dad, being the oldest of 4, you internalized it in a way to where you just knew I need to excel, lead by example, and set that example, and sort of just bypassed any type of mourning of your dad because you were the oldest of 4?
Yeah, that's probably true. Now, there was a lot of times I didn't excel, but
you want to tell us those stories? Because we just read
your resume, yeah.
We read most of your CV, and it was more than a page.
Well,
no, Doc, it's something to be, in my opinion, being the oldest of 4, losing a dad. I truly admire and respect you for your journey and your story, because you led by example. And yeah, we all make mistakes, of course, Doc, but you were a figure for your family, and you went through some tough times, and you stayed the course, right? And you're excelling both in the classroom and out of the classroom. I think is something to be commended and something we can all learn from. So,
well, thank you very much.
You're welcome very much. Yeah. So, all right. So you get to LSU, and freshmen don't play varsity back then. I think for us, if I'm getting recruited and I'm a freshman, I better find the playing field. I mean,
that's how it is now. I mean, of course, we had 45 scholarships as compared to 25 a year. And so you would get, out of the 45 scholarships, you'd probably get 20 that could play Southeastern Conference football, maybe. Today, like you said, you expect to play, you're going to play varsity ball day one, and most people think that they are, some are qualified and some are not. But the freshman football team was, I think there was the, what do you call it, indoctrination into being a college student. They didn't want to put too much pressure on freshmen. Back then, we had a 6-game schedule, and the rest of the time we held dummies. We were cannon fodder for the varsity.
Did y'all ever go live pads practice against varsity as freshmen?
Oh yeah, we were. They put us out. We probably had 60 freshmen, counting the walk-ons and everything. And day one, you went and you were the defense against the varsity offense, or you were the offense against the varsity defense. And when the scrimmages came up, our practices were always full pads, full contact. There weren't any days where we're going to do a walkthrough. We didn't have. We walked through, like when we went to a away game on Fridays. We walked through the stadium, checked it out, and we didn't even run plays or anything like that. It's not like it. I mean, our play system, it was all simple. We ran the ball. We averaged throwing the ball 7 or 8 times a game. And it was, being a running back, being at LSU was ideal. But, yeah, we went against the freshmen. The first day when they had the varsity scrimmage, they took all the freshmen, threw them out there, and man, the varsity, they tore us up, But there was two players that went and sat in the stands and watched 2 freshmen. It was Mike Miley, who was a top recruit, and myself. We sat in there and we just watched them scrimmage. I don't know why I didn't. I wanted to get in there and get some action, but it was delayed. But yeah, we were, when you did game planning for the week and everything, we ran the plays against the varsity, and they killed us. Like Tommy Casanova, he'd come up and you'd be out for a pass, you'd turn around and he'd hit you with a forearm to the head and all that. But which wasn't so bad because we got to LSU. I got a football helmet that had pads.
I was going to ask you about that. And it was like a new helmet, right? Better helmet.
They busted a bunch of them. I busted 3 or 4, or they busted it on me. But I did get one that had pads.
Pads in it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I've heard stories that after games, you would be black and blue all over.
And I was bruised from back, especially being a running back and getting hit as much as I did. It wasn't unusual to have 10 to 15, bruises that showed up, purple. And eventually it turned gold.
And Doc, when you played as a freshman, none of your stats counted towards your official NCAA.
No, I had some good stats in 6 games. I probably had over 400 yards rushing in 6 games. I caught 6 passes, and I averaged 28 yards of reception.
Yeah.
So
back then, that's
wow.
Yeah.
So I had great stats, as a freshman, and of course I had played with great players. As Mike Miley was a great quarterback, but I probably scored 10 touchdowns in the 6 games. So, but that all went down the drain. And, when I left LSU, all my stats were 3-year stats. And so I started in 71, 72, freshmen were eligible to play varsity ball.
That burned you a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
Does it still burn you at all a little bit?
Yes, it burns it.
Yeah. So,
because that would mean that anyone else behind you, right? They have a whole other full year that counts.
I mean,
stats.
I left after my senior year. I was all-time leading rusher in 3 years. And the first one, it took 2 years to break the record. Of course, it was a 4-year player. He had 300 more carries than I had.
Shouldn't count.
And he only beat me by 200 yards. But of course, now it's, with Kevin Falk and all these other guys, Charles Alexander, their stats were unbelievable. So I was just lucky to play.
Yeah, and the bowl games too.
Bowl games didn't count.
They didn't count either back then.
No, we were talking yesterday. I had 1 touchdown my sophomore year. But I tell you, it wasn't true because I scored a touchdown in a bowl game in the Blue Bonnet Bowl against Tennessee. So I had 2 in my book.
Yeah, Doc. So one of those catches your sophomore year, 1972, the catch against Ole Miss, which I'm certain all of our listeners know about.
Well, Probably y'all's the parents of you listening, and grandparents of you listeners.
No, but if they're LSU fans or SEC fans, they know about the catch.
Well, yeah, they still put it in the program, the top plays of the, history. And
so, Doc, y'all are 9-0, favored, number 1 in the country, at home, Death Valley, November 4th, 1972. Ole Miss comes to town. I think are they 5-6 or
they were probably we played 11 games that year. They were 4-3, I think.
Anywho, so y'all's upside is there, and they're playing against the number 1 team, and that was a big rivalry back then.
Yeah, that was the biggest rivalry at the time. It was Fort Alabama rivalry. It's gotten so big. But of course, Ole Miss came down, and they had several guys that played high school football in New Orleans, and they had a quarterback named Norris Weiss, he was a player. He was very good. And of course, we hated each other, Mississippi and Louisiana. So it was a big rivalry. And it was, and when you get in a rivalry game, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so it's fast forward. It's 16 Ole Miss, LSU 10, 4 seconds on the clock. How many plays can we run in those 4 seconds?
I know how many. How many mistakes played up?
I think we can run as many as necessary.
Yeah, but a little bit before that, Burt Jones started a drive. I think it was almost an 80-yard drive. Ole Miss had a chance. They missed like a 30-yard field goal. It would, to win the game. It would have been 19-10. But we get the ball back. And I was the second team tailback at the time, running back. And I had a pretty good game running the ball. And of course, playing with Charlie backs, they rotated backs, they rotated quarterbacks, they rotated linemen. Everybody got to play. But when the drive started, I was on the sideline talking to my brother, the manager, Greg. And I wasn't paying attention because I knew I wasn't going to the game. And so Greg and I were talking about, so what you going to do after the game? He said, I don't know. I said, well, you're not going back to Hammond tonight. Oh, no, I think I might stay here in Baton Rouge tonight. I said, well, good. Well, look, I'll pick you up. I got a date.
Having this conversation.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, Coach Dave McCarty, who was the line coach, Davis. It's not like when you holler at your kid. Yeah. I thought, what?
I'm talking to my brother.
I said, well, what do you want? You interrupt my conversation. He said, get in there. Coach Max wants you. And I said, okay, Coach. Chris Danton was the tailback at the time. And he busted a shoulder pad strap. So he came out of the game because his shoulder pads. And he said, get in there. Block for Burt Jones. I said, okay. So when I went in there, it was 10 seconds to go. I went there to block for Burt Jones. I had no idea that I'd be involved with the scoring of the touchdown. So on the first, it was 10 seconds to go, and they had an incompletion. No, we had a pass interference call. And so it moved us down to, I think it was the 4-yard line or something. So it was first down, and next player ran, they threw the ball into the middle of the field, and the ball was incomplete. And it was, I knew the game was over. 4 seconds, we ran one play, and we looked up, and it was 1 second left. So we get in the huddle, and we call our 2-point play. It was trips left, which meant I was in the slot. We had 2 wide receivers out to the left of me. And I knew they wasn't going to throw the ball on me.
Doc, real quick, when y'all look up and you see 1 second left and Ole Miss is celebrating, thinking that the game's over, what's that like? That moment to shift from wait, the game's not over, we still got a chance. What is that like in the huddle? Are y'all talking about it?
Well, we didn't talk too much about it, but we were blessed that we had the home timekeeper, home field advantage. The Ole Miss people, they were throwing their whiskey bottles down the field. They were celebrating. And it was the southeast part of the end zone where they stuck all the Ole Miss people. Man, they were partying down. They were ready. And all of a sudden, we line up and we got another second to go. So Burgess says, come on, let's go. And so it was a 2-point play we had practiced, 2 or 3 times a season, because we didn't go for the 2 points conversion much at all. So I knew the play, but I didn't know the ball was coming to me. And so I ran the route and I turned around and I'm wide open from step 1 because we had a pick play. The guy the linebacker was guarding me, got knocked on it out of the way. And I was wide open. And so Bert, he looked the whole field looking, not wanting to throw the ball to me.
You were the last option.
I was the last option. But if you draw the play up, I'm the first option. Mm-hmm. But that's Bert, So I was the last choice, and they came over. And of course, you told me, what'd you hear about Bert? He described.
I read.
Throw.
Yeah, I read. Getting ready for today, I read an article where he was very gracious to you, and I thought hilarious. He said something to the effect of, "Thank goodness Brad caught the ball. It looked like somebody kicked it." He was criticizing.
The way he threw it.
Yeah,
it was.
Which
Endo ran.
Hey, he got it to you though. He got it to you.
That's true.
Y'all executed, yeah. No, it's so
we're celebrating. It's 16-16. We still have to kick the extra point with no time left. Now, there was pressure on the kicker. But he converted, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
When you leave Mississippi, turn your clock back 4 seconds. That was posted on it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, legend LSU lore right there. Cool that you were in that play, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was the make or break play in my career because I said the year before they had this second string tailback, and they were playing Colorado. Colorado had come down in 1970, and they had a pretty good team. And Colorado beat LSU. And I know because I was sitting in the stands watching it and having a beverage. But the second team tailback, Burt Jones is quarterback, and this guy, we're losing 2 or 3 points. This guy's wide open, running down the field. He throws the ball to him. All he has to do is catch the ball, drops it, never hit the field again. So
you dropped that. You dropped that pass against Ole Miss. Your playing time may get cut.
I might not hit the field again.
No longer on the team.
Well, they weren't going to keep me all day. But, yeah, I mean, it was, if you don't make a big play, then it wasn't much of a bright future.
Yeah. I can't imagine the stadium in 72 and the feeling, and it was like an earthquake, that kind of stuff,
Yeah, we only had 68,000 at the time.
Yeah, still, I mean, they were.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, they were right down on you.
They were probably hammered and happy.
Oh.
Most definitely.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Now, in 1972, when you went to a football game, I mean, you could walk in with a bottle of whiskey in your hand. So you can imagine.
Is that right?
Yeah. You walk in, the people that were affluent, they had their flask. The people that weren't affluent, they had their glass bottle. And you should have seen the fights, in the stadium. That was more entertaining at times because one fight would start, and then you'd look it over, and there's another fight. There were more fights in the stadium. They had more fight than in some games.
So it was more back then. It was more akin to the Roman Coliseum than it is today.
Oh, very much so. I mean, it's not like now now it's legal. They serve liquor in the stadium now. I mean, they should have done that in the 60s and 70s. Think how much money they would have made. But, I mean, you walk in with a glass bottle of Jack Daniels.
Just bring it with you.
Bring it with you.
Nice. I kind of like
Chris
that.
is fired up.
Yeah,
It was
I don't know.
instead of paying
Buying it.
$9 for
Yeah.
a can of beer.
You can't have any after like the third quarter in the dome. I mean,
It was too much restriction.
safety. They take the tops off your bottles now. We can't.
You can't even throw a good one.
No.
I mean, they had whiskey bottles on. I
Make it
Ole
exciting,
Miss,
right?
Ole Miss.
Dodging stuff.
I kid you not. They were throwing bottles from up, in the upper deck and all that. Where they had,
Yeah. Doc, speaking of the Saints, all right. So, bless you. So you get drafted by the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons, right?
Well, I wanted to play for the Saints. Saints didn't want me.
That can't be true. I will not accept that. I don't know who the GM was at the time.
Oh, I think John North was the coach. And the guy, Steve Rogers, who played behind me, he was the second team running back. They saw more potential in him than they saw in me. So the Saints drafted him in the 7th round. Of course, he was 6'4" and about 205 or something like that. But the Saints drafted him. And so the Falcons picked me up the next, the 9th round, which at 9th round, they had 17 rounds back in 75. And so a 9th round draft choice is not supposed to make the team.
And you made the team.
I made the team.
And
Apart.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just curious. So when they did the draft, then was it something that you knew was like? Were you having like a party at the house? Did you know that was happening, or did they have? Now it's like so televised
wasn't even on television. That's before ESPN and all that.
So did you get a phone call or?
Yeah, that you had to wait for a telephone call.
Okay.
I mean, nobody knew what was going on. It was almost like a secret draft, and then you get it. It wasn't much sports coverage like it is now, 24 hours a day. So I got called a couple of times, would you want to come here? And I said, yeah, I'll go anywhere. I wanted to play.
Yeah.
And the salary compensation was a little different back then than it is today, yeah?
Well, I'm going to tell you about my contract. I signed a 2-year deal, I think. First, I got a $10,000 signing bonus, which I got $5,500 up front. And if I made the team, I got the $4,500. And my base salary was $22,000 a year. And of course, I had some incentive clauses, If you gain 1,000 yards rushing, we'll give you another 1,000. So the Atlanta Falcons they had the number 1 pick in the draft, and they drafted quarterback Steve Bartkowski from California, and his base salary was $100,000. So today it would be what, $50 million or something like that.
Something crazy.
Now, rookies got $200 a week. They got paid. The veterans got 10% of their salary during preseason, and the rookies got $200 a week. So we had six exhibition games, so got an extra $1,200. And I got my $4,500. So I ended up making $32,000 a year. Professional football players, which was good because they had veterans on the team making less than me. A 10-year veteran was making less than me.
Wow.
A starter. So now you realize why they had the strikes in pro football, 2 times I think they had strikes. can you imagine how much money the owners were making?
Were y'all
He had less than $1 million payroll.
were y'all part of a union back then?
It had just started, the NFL Players Association, and it cost $200 to join, and that was pretty steep, you know.
Yeah.
But
It's a week's worth of pay.
Hey, yeah.
but it just started, and they weren't very powerful, but they got stronger, and that's why they're getting paid like they are now.
So I've heard the phrase NFL stands for not for long.
Well, in my case, that's what it stood for.
So, yeah. So, oh man. So I'm born and raised in the New Orleans area, part of Who Dat Nation.
Well, I was too. I was a Saints fan, but I'm not a Saints fan. I got a grudge against them.
Yeah. So the Saints are visiting the Falcons, and you're playing for the Falcons.
Yep.
Special teams.
I'm on the special teams. We had five running backs. Back then we had a fullback and a tailback. So I was able, had the ability to play either fullback or tailback. But the rest of the time I was covering punts, kickoffs, you know. And so this is how my career got cut short. It's in the third quarter. It's like first drive, we have to punt. So I'm going on the punting team. I get hit, I get clipped. And I'm on the ground. I said, something doesn't feel right. You know, it felt like my knee had been shocked, you know. I've been shocked, you know, as a kid. I've been shocked by electricity. You know, Greg.
Try with Greg. Greg did it.
Stick your finger in there.
Stick your finger in that hole.
And Jeffrey, tie this bag around your waist
And jump out the boat. Yeah.
Yeah. You've been shocked before, but not like this.
No.
I got you.
So I get hit and I'm laying on the ground. I'm going, should I get up or should I get it? Or should I lay here? So I laid there about 5 seconds. The referee said, get up and get off the field. I said, man, I'm hurt. I don't care. Get off the field. The Saints offense is on the field. The defense is on the field. I'm sitting there going, all right, I'll try to get off the field. So I got on my good leg, and my left leg wasn't injured. And I got about 20 yards from the sideline, and one of the rookies' teammates comes and helps me off the field. And they almost penalized the Falcons for, delay a game because of that. They didn't care about it. And so I go sit on the bench, and the doctor, I'll be with you in a minute. And he goes, holy check.
Was he like helping someone else at the time, or he just watching the game?
He just didn't care.
Okay.
Yeah, he was watching the game. They had a rookie to help me off the field. Said, hey, Doc, come help me. Anyway, he takes my knee and he goes like this, and it goes different ways that I've never seen a knee go before, I said, you out of the game. I said, I kind of thought that. So this is like 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. They take me to the dressing room, put a bag of ice on my knee, turn the radio on, and said, we'll see you after the game. So I'm in the whole second half listening to the game, not knowing what's wrong with my knee. So after the game, they come in and look, and they say, how's that ice? I said, well, it melted. I need another bag of ice. So the doctor comes in, or the trainer comes in. He hands me a pair of crutches, and he says, look, Dr. Funk, that was his name, Dr. Funk, the orthopedic surgeon. Meet him at Piedmont Hospital on Peachtree Avenue. I said, what? Yeah, drive up to the emergency room and check yourself in.
Did you tell him my right leg is a little out of sorts and driving might be a problem?
No, I didn't think about that. Look, we were in Atlanta, Fulton County Stadium, the old stadium, but the dressing room was in it, and it was like 800 yards to go around to get to my car. And I got a pair of crutches. I've never been on a crutch in my life. Anyway, I get checked, drive yourself to the hospital. We're going to do surgery on you, in the morning. And that was it. I wake up, I said, what was wrong with my knee? Oh, you tore both meniscus, your MCL, medial collateral ligament, and your anterior cruciate ligament. Well, I said, is that all? You only have one ligament left. That's your posterior cruciate.
Sure. Shredded your knee.
Yeah. And then I was smart enough to go back the next year and play.
Did you love the game of football?
Oh, yeah, I would have played for nothing. I loved it. If they would say, look, we're not going to pay you, but you can stay on the team and play for the Falcons, I would have done it.
That's awesome. So you have this seizing, career-ending injury. Is that an injury that nowadays, do you think, with modern medicine, would be career-ending, or?
Probably not, because now they trimmed the torn meniscus and leave them in. And back then, they had no technique of repairing the ACL, so they just let the ACL go and it gets resorbed by your body. So I don't have an ACL on my right knee.
So did you come in your professional career to a crossroads where you had to make a choice, try and keep, playing versus I'm gonna focus on education and go to dental school?
Well, what happened in '76, I played the 6 exhibition games, and then the Turk got me, what they call the Turk. You go in to the stadium, to your locker, and if your pads and shoes and everything are gone, you off the team. And that's, I walk in there and my equipment's gone. Coach wants to see you. You're going to appreciate your effort, but you're fired. You're gone. So it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Man.
So I went back to LSU at the spring semester of '77, and I get a call from the Rams. They said, we want to sign you as a free agent to come out here. And I said, okay, that's good. And I said, how much money you going to give me? He said, $500. I said, that's cool. So I went out to Los Angeles. Well, I got married in the meantime. I got married in '77 to Amy's mother.
Kim Briley?
Kim Briley.
College sweetheart?
College sweetheart.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. So I went out to, we had only been married about 3 or 4 months. And I applied for dental school and got accepted. But so here I got my, I can go to dental school, but I still want to play football. Now, so let me give it a little more try. So I go out to the Rams, and I played one exhibition game and got cut. So I came back, and Kim had already got us an appointment right off of Cleary. So I'm down, and I'm ready. Okay, I'm going to dental school. My football dream's over. So somebody calls on the telephone and said, Brad, you want to play in a football game? I said, who is this? I was a crank call. I said, you want to play football? I said, yeah, I'll play a football game. Where do you want me to play? Well, in Miami. I said, look, I'm going to hang up. You call me back, then I know it's not a crank call. So I said, wait 2.5 minutes before you call. I'm sitting there, he called back. He said, okay, we have a ticket for you at the airport. I said, well, where are we going? He said, going to Miami. Miami? Yeah, we got a game tomorrow night. Well, who am I going to play for? He said, the Washington Redskins. I said, that's cool. Okay. So I go to Miami, get there about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, game's at 7, get to the stadium. There's a uniform. I said, okay. I said, what you want me to do? Just cover kicks. So I played, in that game. Went back to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, where their training camp was. I stayed another week. And now this playbook they had was, I couldn't understand. Everything else was simple, you know. This one had all kinds of stuff. So I played in the game and I said, I don't know, I had enough. I didn't even tell them I was leaving. But prior to that, when they did the physical on me, I played in the game and then they did a physical on me the next week. And the doctor says, he said, can you do anything else? I said, what do you mean? Can you do anything else besides play football? I said, well, I'm accepted, dental school. He said, well, I'd advise you to go to dental school. And so George Allen called me in his office, who was the head coach, and he says, do you want to go to dental school, be a doctor, or you want to play football? And I said, well, if you put it that way, I guess I'm going to go home and go to dental school. But he said, I'm going to keep you on the team. And I said, that's all right. So I left. And about a week after I got back, he says, you coming back? I said, no. I said, send me the check for those 2 games. Okay, but you can't play for anybody else yet. I said, I don't want to. And so went to dental school.
Wow.
I didn't have a good agent.
Oh, Doc, I wish I would have been around for you back then. What led you to dentistry?
I guess I wanted people to be afraid of me. I'm scared.
I think dentists and lawyers both have some high rate of depression and bad tendencies because of how much our patients and clients are fearful of us.
That's what they tell me.
So, Doc, life after football, you're all-time leading rusher at LSU. You get drafted into the NFL. It's kind of a big deal with this 1972 catch. You get hurt. You then go to dental school, and you kind of come out of the football life, and you come into the
real world.
Yeah.
Real
World. Is it like coming down the mountain, and is there a transition there? And
oh yeah, it's a big transmission.
What's that?
Not transmission, transition. Oh yeah, I ruined a lot of transmissions in between that. I mean, you up here, and when you start your career, starting there, it was a big change in life, and I still miss playing football, being around, the football way of life, but it took a while. I think I almost transitioned out of it.
You getting close?
Yeah, I'm getting close.
Yeah, because you're almost
Oh yeah, you're
celebrity, superhuman, and then you're regular, right?
Yeah, like there was the penthouse to the outhouse.
You can say, you tell us.
Yeah, that's what the penthouse to the outhouse. You're going where everybody knows you, and then all of a sudden, I hate you. I hate the dance. I don't like you too much either.
Oh man. And then so you're pretty good. You're a pretty good athlete, Doc, right? And that's putting it lightly. So you're an avid golfer after football?
I played a little bit of golf.
And my question for you is, did dentistry lead you to golf, or did golf lead you to dentistry?
Dentistry is very complex. If you don't practice dentistry, you can't afford golf balls.
One allows you to do the other?
Yes. Yeah, that's the question. Why do so many dentists play golf? There's still competition in my body, and I found a way to still have competition against other people. It's now, as far as professional competition, that's not too much of that. But golf competition, that's fun.
Yeah. So, Doc, what's your handicap?
Now is 13.1.
And are you hitting from?
I'm not hitting from the seniors.
Not yet.
No.
Good for you. And how young a man are you?
71.9. No, I believe it was a different. I was 70.
Don't be distracted by our.
Yeah, it's Monday. I'm 72.9 years old. No, I'm 71. Made in February. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it. I mean, I'm not sure
Yeah, 59 and holding.
how I'm supposed to feel, but I feel good.
Yeah, I read an article getting ready for today. It talks about how you were staying in at 175 pounds and still looking fit, and that's true. Has your focus on health been a result of losing your dad at a young age and wanting to stick around for as long as you can?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I avoided was smoking cigarettes. My grandpa, he smoked. He tried to get me to smoke, but I didn't care for smoking, you know. Now, he did let me drive. We used to go fishing at Beaco Creek. He'd come pick me up when I was 12 years old in his old truck. He had like a 1950-something truck, and he'd throw his bateau aluminum boat in the back. And as soon as we got around the block, he said, "Okay, you drive. We're going." I was 12 years old driving to go fishing.
Nice.
So I got high hopes for Davis.
Yeah, it takes a village.
No, but I've watched. Did
you watch enough TV shows? You know how to
Drive. Yeah.
But I got up to 230 pounds in the 80s, you know, and that wasn't healthy. So I stayed most of my life about around 195, 200 pounds up until I had grandchildren. And then my wife came, she moved to New Orleans, to Metairie for about 3 years. And I said, yeah, now I can eat what I want to eat, not at 7, 12, and 6.
So you on a schedule.
Yeah, so I felt like eating. If I was hungry, I'd eat. If not, I'd fast. So I got down to 165 at one time. But my playing weight was 195 to 205, and 1 year I went to was 218. But that's kind of heavy for guys only 5'10", 5'9" maybe. But yeah, I watch what it, you know. I try to live a healthy lifestyle.
So behind every great man, right, is a even better
Woman.
That's right.
Yeah, wife. Kim Bradley Davis. Love of my life.
Yeah, you're right. That at our rehearsal dinner, you gave a fabulous speech about the time that you and Miss Kim had been married at that time.
Yeah, the speech said my daughter was the light of my life and never lost the brightness. And at the time, I was we'd been married about 32 years, I guess. Mm-hmm. We'd been married, and we were at the rehearsal of it, and I started thinking. I said, considering the penalty for murder, I have served 2 life sentences. I would have been out of parole in 15. Why not do it?
This is part of the speech.
That was part of the speech. Yeah, and then I told a story that I was in dental school in 79. We'd been married. We got married in 77. And Kim said, she gave me an ultimatum. She wanted to either have a baby or get a brand new car. Mm-hmm. So in 79, we got a new car. We got a Pontiac Grand Prix. And then Amy was born, so we started thinking about names, and I wanted to name her Grand Prix. But It didn't work. And then Danny was born about a week later, same hospital. We probably went same what you got to do, pre-pregnancy classes and all that. And so Danny was born a week later, but I wasn't sure what car he was driving. His daddy at the time.
I could see you seeing my parents leaving the hospital, looking at Miss Kim going, thank goodness we're moving out of this city.
Well, I think I was at one of those classes because they had this little Italian girl in a nurse's uniform, and the instructor couldn't hardly put out instructions without questions. And I kept going, you think I might have been your mother?
That would be awesome, right?
Like crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
They were, 1 week apart, same hospital.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when did you first meet Danny? Tell us those stories. Your daughter brought him home.
No, I was at the Pastime Lounge in Baton Rouge, and I ordered a po' boy, and I reached for my wallet and shook hands with Danny.
As my father.
Yeah. we might be losing it.
I don't remember. You brought him home and went to Dallas. Then we go to Cotton Bowl.
We did.
I'd met him at a football game at a tailgate. Amy brought him there. It was love at first sight between me and Dan.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
I might remember a little bit differently.
I said, please marry my daughter and make her the happiest moment in the world.
Like my only daughter.
Yeah,
Please,
my only daughter, my only person with unconditional love.
Well, take her.
Please take her off my hands. That's the way I remember.
That's the way you remember it?
That's a fact, Jack.
No, Doc, I can tell you in no uncertain terms, you and Miss Kim, y'all did an amazing job with your daughter, Amy D. And as I've been blessed to have children, as I've gotten older, I've appreciated you and Miss Kim more and more. And you kept me honest during the courtship of Amy, and I know why you did that, and I respect you for it, and I love you for it.
Well, I tell you, now you say that because you have a daughter. Now you know the feeling.
Yeah, really, really important life lessons. And now for you and Miss Kim, y'all have been amazing grandparents to our kids, and you're ever present, and something that, again, as I get older, right, and you mature more, right, and you have more life experience, you appreciate what other people do and have gone through more so. And that's you and Miss Kim.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
What do you enjoy most right now with the grandkids?
Oh, whatever they want to do, I like doing it with them. And I try to teach them life lessons. I mean, but I enjoy doing anything. I really enjoy going to football games with them, bring them to Tiger Stadium, trying to get them indoctrinated. And I enjoyed, there's a couple of places around the stadium where there's my name's on a plaque in 2 different places. I enjoyed bringing them to see that because I hate to say this, I ain't going to be around, forever. But I want to try to enjoy as much as I can. I want them to remember me in a good way.
Yeah, I think they do. And I think what's cool about your influence is that they take to you and they listen to you. And I think some of the things that you've done with them, like fishing and catching turtles and,
oh, yeah. I met a fisherman out of Davis.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was football with Amy growing up too? Is that a big part of your family? And
oh, yeah. She started going to LSU at 3 years old, I think. She was so bad I couldn't get a babysitter. So no, she was the perfect child. But no, we couldn't go to the football games without her. So she had no chance. She was born an LSU fan.
Doc, this is a question that we ask a lot of grandparents. What do you enjoy more? Being a parent or being a grandparent?
Well, I enjoyed both of them. I mean, I guess it's more fun with the granddads because it's more fun at this part of my life because, they think I'm a kid, I think. They want me on the ground wrestling us, and I'm doing the best I can. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, it was fun having a daughter, but it was the responsibility, keeping it on the straight and narrow. And, both of them were great.
All right. So, Doc, thank you very much for being an amazing guest on our show. We say, tell me something good. Doc, tell us something good.
Keep hope alive.
Something good.
Keep hope alive.
It's good.
Any closing thoughts for us, Doc?
Y'all keep up the good work you're doing for the people. And I'm real proud of both of y'all. And I hope y'all have a long, enduring relationship and all the success in the world.
Thank you.
That was really nice, Doc. Well, that does it for episode 12 of Stay on Track podcast. Our vision is to help 500 plus families battling injuries by year 2028.
Our motto is that we help people who are hurt. Our goal is to earn each client's trust by showing up for them every day. When we say PO in our office, we think protecting others. We started this podcast to share knowledge, experience, and insights free of charge to better spread our vision and serve our communities near and far.
For everyone listening in, tell us something good. Please follow us and like us on social media to better share our vision so others may learn more about what we do and who we help. For Carissa, thank you to Annie and Amy D. and our special guest, Dr. Brad Davis, the Hammond Hammer, the LSU Hall of Famer, the consummate husband, father, grandfather, dentist practitioner, and avid golfer and sportsman. I'm Danny. Thank you for staying on track with Poolson Oden Law Firm.
Thank you.